Hello, everybody. Welcome to my review of Season 2's second episode of What We Do in the Shadows called Ghosts. The first episode was fantastic, and I think it was released the same day as this one, which is awesome. So, you got a double dose of What We Do in the Shadows. So, without further ado, let's get started, and let's talk about the episode called Ghosts. So, we start off with Laszlo. He's in his office, his library, his whatever you want to call it, and as he's sitting there, he hears a noise. He doesn't know what it is. He's looking around. And then he goes back to his business. And then he hears that noise again. But when he turns this time, all of his books are stacked. Like, all really nice and neat. Like, which kind of freaks him out. So he takes off looking for Guillermo. Because who else is he going to blame but Guillermo? So he's blaming Guillermo for sneaking into his room and stacking his books like that. And Guillermo's like, I wasn't even in your room, man. And Laszlo's insisted that it was him. So they open the door because Nandor shows up. He goes, let me show you what he did. Well, it's even worse now. All sorts of stuff is stacked there. And then he's like, it's not me. I've never been in that room. And Nandor is like, why are you doing this? And he's like, it wasn't me. I'm telling you. And as they're sitting there, Naja comes up and Guillermo's sitting in the room. And as he's sitting there, the desk drawer starts opening up by itself. And he's like, look, see. So there's a parchment in there. So he grabs the parchment and he looks at it. And apparently it says, Nandor sucks. Oh, I'm sorry. Laszlo sucks. Backwards. Laszlo's not too pleased by it. Says Laszlo does not suck, especially not backwards. So Nadia knows what's going on. And she says, basically, we have ghosts. So Nadia and Laszlo are in their little, I guess, their area of the house. And she's basically just telling what ghosts are. Basically, ghosts are people who have died. And their spirit has been left on this plane because it has unfinished business. Now, Laszlo absolutely does not believe in ghosts. He thinks ghosts are nothing. They're fairy tales. And he can explain everything by science. So as he's explaining everything with science, Naja just shows how much she disapproves? Well, disagrees with what he's saying. As you can see, she does not agree with Laszlo. So now we go to Nandor, who is also saying basically the same thing, that ghosts are just fairy tales to make their kids slumber more so they can go into a deeper slumber, easier to feed on, or something like that. And Guillermo's like, huh. He's like, what? What do you have to say? So Guillermo brings up the point of, look, I have seen werewolves. I have seen necromancers. I have seen zombies. And I even seen Babadook. Well, he says a couple of them, actually. He goes, and you're going to sit here and tell me that there's no ghost. And Nandor will have none of it. They're just fairy tales. Guillermo's just like, well, again, one of his famous looks on his face, which is, they're just so good. So now we go to Colin, and Colin does not believe. He does not believe that there are ghosts. No, not at all. So Colin has come across humor, and he's trying to use humor to feed better. And he's not... He's now asking everyone this, and it's a running joke, basically. Does anyone have any up dog? So they're gonna ask, that, and what he's gonna say, but no one answers. So he's left hanging. Poor Colin. So Colin Robinson is he's such a good character. So now we go into the seance, where they are going to try to find out what's going on in the house, what ghosts are in the house. But before that, Nandor wants to show everyone his giant crystal balls. I don't know why, but he just wants to. I guess he's dipping his toes into the whole humor thing. And, of course, Colin has to jump in and make his joke. Maybe the ghost will bring some up dog. And it doesn't seem like Laszlo really cares for it too much. He's like, what is he talking about? So they start the seance. And she starts talking in tongues or some kind of language. And it sounds really weird. And then Nandor and Guillermo are like, okay, this is sounding very strange. But they hear a noise. Apparently, they've brought something into the house. But Nandor thinks it was Guillermo farting. It wasn't me. And so they start all joking, making fun of poor Nadia, saying, haha, this is all just nothing. This is just a big, I don't know, just a farce to them. Especially to Laszlo, because Laszlo believes in science, and this is all not, nope. This can't be, there's no ghost, and this is all a joke. And they're all joining in, having a great big laugh. And meanwhile, Nadia's not taking it very well. She's pissed off at him, so she storms out. So she sits out on the outside steps of the house, and she sits in her book, and lo and behold, a ghost shows up. But not just any ghost. Jesk, as she says. Jeff, or her former lover. The beheaded one. Still in his helmet, too. It's just really strange. Just sitting there, and she's like, oh, of course, it's Jesk. So Laszlo comes out, starts talking to Nadia, and pretends like Jesk isn't there. Or just doesn't see him. And she's like, look, he's right there. He goes, don't you see him? And he's like, no, there's nothing there. I don't see anything there. Yet, if you look at his eyes, he's looking right at him. So to me, when I saw it, I'm like, going, he sees him. I go, maybe he's just farting around. So he heads back inside. And as soon as he heads back inside, he bolts straight to Nandor. And tells Nandor that there's a ghost outside. So Nandor grabs his sword and a knife. Okay. He grabs his sword and his knife. For a ghost. And he goes charging off. Where is this effing ghost? And he busts through the door. Gonna chop this ghost up into pieces. And goes straight through the ghost. Which we all saw coming except for Nandor. Well, Nadia did. Nadia's just like stupid. And so he's laying there with all sorts of gunk all over him. Look, I guess it's ectoplasm or something. The rest of them come out and, no, look, there's a ghost. And so Leslie's like, what is all this gook on me? He goes, and Colin's basically telling him, it looks like ectoplasm or something like that. And so Nadia's face. So Nadia's basically telling Jesk, she's like, you're not going to hurt them, are you? He's like, no, I'm just here to scare them. And they're like, how's this? And they're like, nah, this ain't going to work. Because we've seen this before. We've seen your beheading. And he's like, well, how about this? It's some kind of freaky monster head. And it sure does the job. That scares the living crap out of them. And they take off running. Except for Colin, because Colin is Colin. And he shortly goes after them. Trying to bring him back. And Nadia's like, what the heck do you want? And he's basically saying, look, I got unfinished business, And he goes, I got you need to help me finish it. She's like, oh, good Lord. I don't want to have to do this. So they finally get back in the house, and Laszlo still got gunk all over him. And of course, Colin, it sort of looks like Updog. He is trying really, really hard for someone to say, what's up, dog? He is trying so hard. So Nadia starts telling him what's going on. And he's like, look, people are on this planet. People have spirits inside of it. When a person dies, a spirit is still there. When the spirit leaves the body. When the spirit leaves the body, what do you have? Ghosts! So Nandor is, okay, well, if that's the case, well, we're dead. You, me, and Laszlo here is dead. But I don't know about Colin Robinson. And which brings up a good point. Is Colin dead? And even Colin doesn't know. Colin goes, I don't even know what my deal is. He goes, I just keep trucking. Which is really neat. I hope they look into that. But anyways, they go back to, we're dead. And Nadia's like, what's the point? And Laszlo's like, well, if we're dead, are there ghost versions of us? And Nadia's like, huh. That's a good question. So they go back to the seance table. because they want to figure this out. They want to know what the answer to this is, which I don't blame them. They've got to know. So they do the whole seance, and lo and behold, they bring back their ghosts from right when they died, which is kind of cool. So Laszlo is talking about how he has this ghost and he needs to find out what his unfinished business is. While the ghost is, I don't know, trying to strangle that light. It's kind of funny looking. It's giving Guillermo the giggles. Unfortunately, the ghost doesn't speak English. He speaks his old language from where he's from. Unfortunately, he forgot how to speak the language. So there's a slight communication problem. So let's head over to Nadia and Ghost Nadia. So Ghost Nadia is upset at Nadia for not doing more with her life. Just hanging around with the boys, listening to them, and just so upset that she didn't do more with what she had. And Nadia's like, well, what do you want me to do? She's like, you could have learned something, you could have did something. So they're going back and forth. They're getting into an argument. Yeah. And as they're arguing, they end up bonding over, they say the same thing, and they end up bonding, laughing. And no sooner do they start, getting along, here comes Jesk, to Nadia's chagrin. She really doesn't want to see Jesk. Or Gregor. Either one. But Ghost Nadia thinks he's hot. And she's like, who the heck was that hottie, She's like, no, you don't want to go there. You don't want to go there. It's like, oh, you got there, huh? She's like, yep, because you go up there and back. And they're laughing. And basically, they both realize they're both horny. I'm not joking. They both realize it. So we go to Laszlo and his ghost Laszlo. And they're getting along just swimmingly, just fine. And Laszlo finally asks, you're obviously here because you have unfinished business, so what is it? He goes, remember when we died? He goes, yeah, of course. He goes, well, I was in the middle of some unfinished business. Meaning he was about to orgasm and he didn't. So he needs to orgasm. And those ghost hands just ain't doing it. But those meaty hands of his. So what he's telling Laszlo is he needs to finish him off with his, meaty hands. I don't know. So Laszlo has to finish off Ghost Laszlo. Oh boy. I'm sure Laszlo's like, okay. So now we go back over to Nandor and his ghost, and they can't seem to communicate. It's just the language barrier is just too big. Until Ghost Nandor sees the painting of Nandor on the horse named John, who apparently is like his best friend ever. I mean, they did everything together. That was his boy. So, I mean, he took him everywhere. He took him into battle. Took him, he even fed him berries out of his mouth. Nuts and berries out of his mouth, which is kind of disgusting. And so, they bond over that. And by the way, his horse's name is John, or as Ghost Laszlo says, Jahan. So, they found some common ground. So, now we head back to Nadia, who's having a grand old time with Ghost Nadia. And they're just hooping up, hollering, and Nadia's trying on a little Mexican hat, which looks kind of cute on her. And they end up finding this doll in this box. And I guess it was her old dolly or something like that. And Ghost Nadia jumps into the doll. So now we have a creepy talking doll. And yes, it's quite creepy. She's in this thing. Her eyes are opening and shutting, blinking, and she's talking. It's really freaky looking. And no sooner did that happen, here comes Jesk again, really wanting to get his unfinished business taken care of. And Nadia is just, go away. Basically, look, we had a great time. We had sex a couple 100,000 times. Yes, she said a couple 100,000 times. I'm like, holy crap. Even the dolly is like, man, you have been busy. And Nadia basically is telling just get out, go home, leave, bye. Leave, please. So Jesk finally takes the hint, leaves, and Nadia doll, she goes, call me, which is still very freaky, just freaky. So Ghost Jesk leaves, and so now we head to the back to the seance table, where Colin, Ghost Nandor and Nandor are summoning something. But what are they summoning? Well, whatever they do summon it. And lo and behold, it's their horse, John, or Jahan, their best friend. So apparently, what happened to the horse? What happened to Jahan? Well, he ate him. Apparently, what happened was they were starving. Him and his men were starving. They needed to eat something, and John was the only thing there, so he ate Jahan. Jahan. He was very sad, though, he said, while eating him, because that was his pet. Or can a horse be a pet? I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that works. I know dogs and cats, but is a horse considered a pet? Huh. Anyways, so all of a sudden he starts to fade, and Nando's like, "What's going on?" Colin has to explain to him. Well, apparently that was his unfinished business, that he needed to be reunited with his horse, his best friend, and so they poof out of existence. Goodbye, Jahan, the ghost horse, and goodbye, Ghost Laszlo. And Laszlo's very sad. So he gets a hug from Colin. And as they're hugging, Colin basically goes, "I think you need a little up dog." And Laszlo goes, "Can we get some now?" He's just poor Colin can't win for trying. So Nadia finds Laszlo, and she still has a dolly, but the dolly's she's not telling anybody that her ghost is in it. She doesn't even tell Laszlo. So she asks Laszlo, "Did you finish? You helped find your ghost, his unfinished business?" And yes. Laszlo goes, "Yeah, I helped him find it." So she walks into the room. There is spooge everywhere. And I mean everywhere. Basically, he's saying that's ghost ectoplasm. That's exactly what it is. But it isn't. But that's what he's saying it is. So, that's pretty disgusting. So now we head over to Colin, who's also at the seance table. And I don't know why he's there. What could possibly he be summoning up? Or what could he possibly summon up? Well, he summons up his dear old grandma. And I'm like, why would he summon her up? Well, there's only a reason why he summoned her up. She basically tells him, "Oh, you have grown to be such a handsome young man." And he goes, "It's probably because I have so much up dog." And of course she asks, "What's up, dog?" And he goes, "Not much, dog. What's up with you?" And he's so happy that he finally could say it. I mean, he is tickled pink. And apparently that's the only reason why he brought his dear old grandma back to life. He's like, "Yeah, okay, that's enough." So he blows the candle out after she's trying to ask him questions. And he's, "Okay, that's all enough. I'm done." That was it. He just brought her back so he could tell that joke. And that is the end of the episode. So what did I think of the episode? It was really, really good. Again, I mean, I don't think I've really come across many episodes, if any episodes, that are just bad. They're so good. And just there's so many open questions, because if you think about it, Gregor / Jess is still there, as far as I know. I mean, his unfinished business was never finished. He's still roaming around that house. So I'm thinking he's going to show up again, because they everyone else, they showed their finished business. I mean, you saw Laszlo's, Ghost Laszlo disappear, and you saw the spooge all over the place for, I'm sorry, Ghost Nandor. God darn it, I get their names confused all the time. Yeah, Ghost Nandor disappear. Laszlo in his spooge-filled room, which was disgusting. I mean, good lord, man. He was built up for a while, I guess. And now you have Nadia. I know I'm not going to be saying her name really correctly, but I'm trying. And her ghost is in the doll, which obviously that's going to play a part in some other episodes. Obviously. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. So you have a few threads that are now still lingering, from this episode. You got Jehesk running around, Gregor, if you will, and you got Najadal. So where are they going to go with that? And another thing I'm really curious about in this episode, they mentioned Colin, and they don't know if he's dead or not. And even he doesn't know, so I wonder if eventually they're going to dip in, into that pool and see, show how he became what he is. Does he have a master like all the others do? I'm really, really curious about his backstory. So, yeah. So there's a few things here out and about that I'd be kind of curious about seeing where that leads. So anyways, that's what I thought of it. I loved it. I love this video. I love this this episode, and I'm just looking for the third one. I'm looking for the third episode and on and on. I can't get enough of it. It's just so good. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, just leave a like and subscribe and leave some comments. Tell me what you think. If you have any stuff that you saw in there that you were like questioning or like to know about, because like I said, I can't wait to find out more about this. The Ghost Jehesk and Najadal and the Colin's past. I'm really curious about that. So, and you know what? Another thing about the past I'm looking for. I'm hoping when they moved in this house, that would be very cool. An episode showing that, like a flashback of them moving in the house. That would be neat. So thanks a lot, guys. I do appreciate it. I hope you like what you saw, and come back again for my next review, the third episode of What We Do in the Shadows, and I will see you again. Bye-bye.